Hi everyone, Drini here, and welcome to my channel. So after a very dreadful past couple of days, where Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto markets really dumped hard, we are currently in the midst of a relief rally, which is of course not surprising. However, we are not out of the woods yet. But relief rallies like this are a very good opportunity to really reevaluate our positions and reevaluate our portfolios. In particular, because if you've been watching my channel, you know that we have a lot of gaming cryptos in our portfolio. So this is actually a perfect time to really talk about how should you manage your gaming crypto portfolio during this very bearish phase. Because full disclosure, with the exception of a couple of gaming cryptos, I have sold pretty much everything and have accumulated a cash position in spite of selling a lot of them at a loss. So let me give you some of my thought processes or tips in navigating through a bear market for our gaming crypto investments. And let's dive in. So the very first thing that all of us in the gaming crypto space really have to take note of and apply strictly is we have to remove any emotional attachment to any of the projects that we like. Because during bear markets like this, all of them will dump significantly. A lot of them will never come back. So it is very important to remove all emotions and take note that in situations such as this, where everything appears to be going down and we really are at the cusp of a bear market right here, not only because of the crypto cycles, but also because the macroeconomic environment is very bad. The only thing worth keeping is Bitcoin. Everyone else is dispensable. And the reason for this is quite simple. The market does not care about your feelings. It'll dump on you just the same. If you keep attaching yourself to projects that you know are not good, you are the source of liquidity as the market keeps going lower and lower. The second tip, and this is in relation now to our gaming cryptos, is you need to chuck out basic games. Any game that could be replicated easily, get rid of it. Pixel games, mobile games, and games with very basic gameplay such as auto clickers and the like, these games will definitely go down way lower than you think it will, and most of them will never come back. And the reason for this is quite simple. If you look at Steam has over 40,000 indie games. The current cryptos gaming space already has 1,500. So if your game is very basic, it will keep dumping, eventually be close to zero. And when the market recovers, it will never return back to its former glory. Why is that? That is because if it is replicated easily, another new game will take up all the hype for that particular genre. There will be another pixel game that everyone will be talking about. There will be another mobile game that everyone will keep talking about. There will be another game with basic gameplay where people will rush to extract as much value as they can before they dump it on the latecomers. So chuck out the basic game. So the third tip is focus on AAA-like titles then. And how do you identify whether they are AAA? If things are being built on the Unreal Engine 5, when you see gameplay footage and everything is original, in terms of original art, original level design, etc., and you have high graphical fidelity when it comes to the models being used, then you know that that is a AAA gaming title. Another way to identify whether or not they are AAA would be, of course, if a lot of brands and a lot of artists are already onboarded within that particular ecosystem. So for example, games like Gala, games like Sand, you know that they will be around for a long time because they both have the funds and the ability to keep creating experiences because of their massive treasuries from the recent run-ups. The fourth tip is, even though you have identified the particular games that you feel are worth keeping because you know they will be around for a while, the key thing to note here is you do not need to own their token yet. Instead, what you want to focus on is you want to focus on getting the NFT assets first because they tend to be more scarce. A token can be dumped, especially because of liquidity pools. They can be sold easily in the marketplace. But an NFT asset tends to preserve its value significantly over long stretches. A perfect example is if you actually take a look at the floors for NFT art, they have retained their value much better than the tokens associated with that particular project. That is because they are less liquid. For any particular game that you have identified, for example, if you're eyeing Pavia, if you're eyeing Cornucopias, for example, you don't necessarily need to own the Pavia token yet. You don't need to own the Kopi token yet because it's a bear market. Better to then invest on their particular assets, such as their land, such as the vehicles. If you're dealing with splinter lands, then of course, own the cards first, own land first, etc., etc. The fifth tip is Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. The only reason why we are investing in the gaming crypto space is because the assumption that we have is gaming cryptos or anything in relation to the metaverse, good projects in the metaverse will outpace Bitcoin. And the reason why we want to invest in these projects is we want to outpace Bitcoin so that we can eventually store all our value into Bitcoin. That should always be the goal, because Bitcoin will be the perfect store of wealth, whether it's today, tomorrow, 100 years from now. There will only be 21 million of them. So another reason, of course, why you want to own Bitcoin during the bear market first is because if you think of it from a probability standpoint, remember there are 10,000 plus crypto projects out there. There's only one Bitcoin. Because as Bitcoin's price goes lower and lower, not only do you now have an attractive entry point for Bitcoin, your risky position in your altcoin or your gaming crypto increases further and further. Because remember, there is a chance that your altcoin will never see the light of day when the markets recover, but Bitcoin will keep soldiering on. The sixth tip is a lot of you are probably very prideful, or a lot of you have a lot of ego where you don't want to see yourself lose. In the investing space, you really have to leave your ego out the door. We all get wrecked at some point. So for example, the recent sell-off of all of my gaming cryptos, all of them have come at a loss. So from a gaming crypto perspective, I was pretty much quote-unquote wrecked. But in investing, it's very important to understand, I don't care if I lose now. If I eventually have the right positions at the end of the day, then in the span of multiple time frames, like 5, 10, 15 years, it's all going to play out significantly, and the L's that I'm taking now will not be L's in a few years' time. But you have to be humble enough to accept that there are certain projects that you have definitely made mistakes. I have made a lot of mistakes when picking out gaming cryptos. I put my money on Warina, which went nowhere. I put my money on Heroes and Empires, which went nowhere. I put my money on Meta Wars, which went nowhere. Even games that I like, unfortunately, I have to cash out. Like Wonder Hero, I have to cash out just because of the sheer bear market meltdowns that have been happening, etc., etc. And finally, the seventh and most likely the most important advice here is during bear markets, you really have to be patient. Assume that every rally would be a relief rally. It's not going to be a bull run yet. With macroeconomic factors being very, very bad, accumulate as much cash position as you can. When you're liking a particular project and you're having second thoughts as to whether or not this is worth investing, just put it in Bitcoin. When in doubt, put it in Bitcoin. If you don't know what you're doing, if you're new to this space and this is your first time getting wrecked, put it in Bitcoin first. You can always take profits in the future and put it in your favorite projects. Or buy your NFT for that particular game, the rest, put it in Bitcoin. And there you go. Hopefully these 7 tips would help out in really making you assess your portfolio properly, because at the end of the day, I make these videos in order for all of us to achieve financial freedom. It may be a rocky road to get there, but if we keep at it, if we keep learning, if we keep growing in the space, then we will all make it. Yo, before you go, like this video, subscribe, and share this video to your friends. Thank you very much and have a good day.